So a month ago, we were talking about all the layoffs, and people were like, who had not been in the industry, a lot of students reached out and were freaking out of like, oh my God, what have I done with my life? I've chosen the wrong thing to do. Well, first of all, again, like for me, if you go back, there's that video, that Ethan Hawke video that's really good about, it's the thing. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care how this is attached. This is what I'm going to do. So approaching it that way, if it's just a job and you want to make money, then there's probably other easier ways to make money. But if you enjoy doing this and you would just do it anyways, you do this in your spare time, it's just going to be the thing you do regardless. But here's the good news. Here's the good news. Here's the good news. Sure, there's still people looking for work. I'm not negating that. I hope everybody the best in this. It's a struggle. But what I'm seeing when I'm talking with friends, when I'm going out, and I was trying to help some people find some jobs because they'd worked with me previously. If you worked with me previously, I figure you made a bet on me at some point. I'm going to make a bet on you. And so try to help them find jobs. Is everybody who is in the development side has found a job. Some business people are still struggling because I think there's a lot of uncertainty there. But on the development side, I've seen everybody find a job. Now, they're mid to senior people. So it's not that surprising that they're the first to go, right? They got snapped up. But that's a positive sign that we had all of these big layoffs, but yet the industry itself was able to absorb them and find them a place. And so I don't think you hear a lot of people talking about that because people just get heads down and start working. But I just wanted to kind of put that positive note out about it, that I'm definitely seeing that. Hopefully other people are as well. And if you aren't, I am not discounting what you're going through or what's happening in any way, okay? I'm just saying that, like, at a larger look at it and stepping back, that it seems like the hiring is going on and is happening. And so while the layoffs are bad and scary, and I think really have people step back and think about how they approach this, there is some good news there. Do you want to hate capitalism? Hang on a minute. Let's talk about this because this person's 100% right. All these big companies were overhiring. So why were they overhiring? Well, it goes back to what's stock. So if I buy $1 of Microsoft stock, I own $1 and I expect that in some place in the future, I'm going to sell it and it's going to be worth more money. That's why I give it to them. Okay. So at the time when all these hirings were going on, people valued a company not by how profitable it was, but by how much growth it had. Like, it's got to be growing, it's growing. The whole economy is based on growth. We'll get that, yeah. But, okay, so it's just growing. So they'll hire 50 people because 49 of them don't work out. Who cares? Because if one of them adds growth, if they do more than they did before, more revenue, right? So they're good, right? So you have all this revenue coming in. They just care about the revenue going up. They care about the growth. And so they just would hire people. And then they would defensively hire people because you have Meta. Meta's like, oh my God, we switched our whole company name to this metaverse thing. We got to make this work. And then they would hire anybody who had anything to do with it as a defensive way because they're like, well, we got to own those people because now we've said the metaverse is important. These people are getting expensive. So, poor me, I'm sitting there trying to hire somebody for $150,000 and they're going to me going, well, I could go work for $1 million at Meta. What should I do? So, right, and so they just destroyed these small businesses' ability to hire senior people because of this expense. It was really, really hard. And so you had this they were inflated salaries, and you just had all this chasing for money because the stock market valued these companies not by profitability, but by growth. So then it turns, and we're in this new period where how valuable a company isn't about growth, always, sometimes there's exceptions, but it's about profitability. Now, the problem is the company's revenue is the same, right? So this money coming in is the same, and they have their profits, which is the money after costs. So what they have to do is cut the costs. So they just cut people. And that's where we get all the layoffs, right? Because they didn't even think about it. They're like, well, but in the future, won't we want to have more revenue? Because that wouldn't be great. Shh, that's the future. We don't talk about that, right? Because it's like, what are we going to do this quarter? We're going to cut a bunch of people because that'll make our stock go up. Because now we're more profitable. Because you can look at this money coming in, you can split it up by costs and see what's left over, and that's your profits. And look, it went up. We're worth more money. And that's it. All those people's lives just get uprooted, thrown around, and that's the reason why. And it'll go back to being growth soon, and then they'll just start hiring again, and they'll pretend they didn't learn anything, and it just keeps continuing. I own stock. I'm part of the problem. I don't know. I also use Teams, so I'm part of the problem.